So on this episode that we're going to check out today, if the copyright spirits will allow us, is apparently the topic is common myths about gladiator fights. Now, you know me, so we're going to have to see if these myths, if they're not replacing myths with other myths, if the information is presented correctly. But the guests are, he's got two guests, Jay Okerson and Luis J. Gomez, and I believe them to be stand-up comedians. Right? They're comedians. At least Gomez is a comedian. So it's not like I'm expecting historical accuracy, but it's still a nice opportunity to see if there is anything we need to correct a little bit of pedantic, you know? I think it's always good. It's Rome after all. You know, when you say Rome, boom, summoned in the Metatron. It is what it is, right?
Colosseum, wasn't it completely underground at one point? They discovered it?
No. The Sphinx was underground. But the head was above it, and then they cleared out the sand.
God.
The Colosseum
You
was
came off stupid as shit there.
No,
I don't think it was underground. No. The
Why is he saying wow? Well, again, these are comedians. Do remember that these are comedians. Okay, the Colosseum wasn't underground. I mean, no, the Colosseum wasn't underground. Maybe the only way I could say how he could have got confused by that is the section that is under the ground, because of course the Colosseum has a whole section that is technically underground. It was added by Domitianus. Let me say it correctly once. Okay, I'm not gonna pester you with the Latin names, but at least once. So maybe that's what he got confused with. What do you guys think? Yeah, not even the foundations, when they put all the tunnels, chambers, and cells underneath so that they could lift up animals and soldiers and whatnot. That was added by Domitian later. Maybe that's what he was talking about. I don't know. But anyways.
The Colosseum has always been there, but they did used to be able to get water in it. They used to have water fights. They have boat fights in there.
It was crazy.
Bro, imagine.
In Imperial, I'm going to interrupt him a lot, just so you know, so we don't get copy claimed anyways. The idea of the Colosseum being flooded, these are called naumachia, and they are basically recreated naval battles, and they can be done both for gladiatorial games or for criminal executions. So it could be gladiators on top of those ships, and they simulate the battle, and then the Romans go, wow! Or it could be criminals that are sentenced, and so they're like, okay, you go out on a fight during a battle, so the people, like a naval battle. So yeah, no, those were done in the Colosseum exclusively in imperial times until Domitian builds the underground sections, and then they can't flood it anymore. But they did, yeah, no, they do that. In the Republican period, they still did the naumachia, by the way. They would do artificial digs, where they would put the water, so not in amphitheaters. They started doing them in amphitheaters, including the Colosseum, during the imperial times. I'm going to speak a lot today, am I? Yeah, they call them water fights. That's fine. I mean, it gets the point across. I'm not going to be too annoying about it.
Really cool shit.
Watching people get eaten by lions in front of everybody. Imagine what that was like.
Well, back then, you understand, they didn't they would have these games, and they would bring in they would have like hunts, and they would have like animal fights and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's like back then, to see a giraffe, it looked like an alien. Like they had no idea what they would bring in animals from Africa, like rhinoceros.
Yeah, these people didn't have YouTube. They weren't traveling.
They had no idea. It was like it literally like you're watching Alien.
Yeah, so I like that it went into aliens, which means I'm gonna get a reptilian notification under my video, which is what happened last time. Something like that happened. Hey, make sure you understand who the reptilians are. Anyways, yeah, no, the point he's making is correct. He mentioned the rhinoceros, and he's right. Rhinos were used in the arena. I love the gladiatorial stuff, guys. So I'm gonna be so yeah. The rhinos are mentioned by two authors, Pliny and Martial, and in fact, Martial tells us that there was a rhino at one point that was particularly ferocious. So yeah, and also he said hunts. That's correct. And Joe Rogan is mentioning lions. When it comes to the lions, actually, it's really interesting. Lions were extremely expensive. Like, really. A first-class lion would cost 150 denarii. That's a lot of money. It's been estimated that during the entirety of the Roman games held in the Colosseum, particularly under Pompey, a.k.a. Pompey the Great, glory to Pompey, 300 million sesterces were spent on lions alone. Over 500 lions were killed in the arena, as reported by Plutarch. So, yeah, they and he's right. I mean, when he's saying aliens, sure, there were animals that the Romans had no idea, at least the common population, and so they would bring them. They put a whole elephant inside there is a specific entry to the Colosseum for big animals like that. So yeah, no, he's right. I mean, the Romans loved entertaining the masses with wild animal fights, 100%. 55 BC is the one that comes to mind, still with Pompey, by the way. It's mentioned that he brought a lot of, including monkeys, cynocephalus monkeys specifically. It's possible that that's what's the word, baboons in English? Anyways, cool. Yeah, starting good so far, starting good.
Fight.
Have you been to the Colosseum?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Do you see those things where they lift them up to the floor and then the lions will pop out?
They had underground. They have a whole pulley system where like they have elevators and they would have slaves like pulling people up, and it was a whole show. It was a really cool thing.
I appreciate you saying slaves lower.
If they had that right now, we would watch it.
Yeah.
What did he say about slaves? Wait.
They have elevators and they would have slaves like pulling people up, and it was a whole show. It was a really cool thing.
I appreciate you saying slaves lower.
If they had that right now.
I appreciate you saying slaves lower. I don't know what he means. No idea. Maybe you know.
If they had that right now, we would watch it. If there's something on YouTube, like I've already seen. Have you seen the night fights where guys dress?
I mean, I would rather the animals didn't get killed, but I would totally watch a gladiatorial combat between gladiators. 100%, I would. I mean, we watch MMA, and those guys go really punchy in the face, bloody nose, everything. So I would watch it. I would watch a gladiatorial match. 100%. The entry to the Colosseum games was paid or free. Usually, it's paid by the sponsor or the emperor. So it's for the people. Bread and circuses is the idea. So you don't need to buy a ticket. No, you just go. And that's how it works. Sometimes the organizers had to go into loans to pay for unless you're the emperor, which at the end of the day, you're basically using taxpayer money. So, I mean, they are paying technically the people if you really want to look at it that way. Am I right? Let's go.
Up in armor and beat the fuck out of each other.
Harrington does he does the commentary for it. He's like the Joe Rogan of night fighting.
That's so ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, shit.
They hit each other with battle axes and shit.
A scepter strike to the leg.
Oh, they're talking about Buchurt, I think.
But it's like they look tough and then they take their helmets off and they're just fucking virgins. It's like just these really nerdy fat dudes.
I don't know, man. I mean, some of those Buchurt people, if they are talking about Buchurt, Battle of the Nation, no, I think they're pretty tough, to be honest. That stuff hurts, you know?
Some of them know how to fight, though. I've seen ones where guys take guys down, leg kick them.
They're MMA guys that are getting into it. It's just another like outlet.
Another outlet.
Part of the floor of the Colosseum was buried until the mid-19th century.
Oh, you were right. There you go.
I knew,
One floor.
I don't want to correct you.
Hypogean floor lay buried under 40 feet of earth. All memory of its function, even existence. What is that the
what?
Floor that lifts up? Is that what that is?
No, okay, they got confused. Yeah, they are talking about the hypogeum with a long air, by the way, hypogeum. This is specifically the tunnels dug under. So, okay, let me see if let's see if they show a picture or something. If not, I'll pull it up and I can explain to you what this is.
Yeah, the floor. There was stuff sticking out of it, and then they went and they uncovered that there was like an entire underground system. Like
exactly. So, just so we understand this, I'm sure you have seen this, right? What this is this that you see over here is the actual floor of the Colosseum. This would have been made of wood, and it would have covered the entirety of this. And then on top of the wood, they would put the sand. As an interesting fun fact, the word for sand in Latin, which is kind of the same, almost the same with Italian, it's a little technical, but the word for sand in Latin is arena, and the Colosseum is a arena, right? Anyways, so yeah, you would see the sand, you wouldn't know as a spectator that you have actually replaced the floor, because the floor is actually artificial and it's wooden. And the reason why they did this is so that they could build this entire set of chambers and tunnels and cells, the three things that you see here, where you would put the gladiators, you would put the animals, you would put lots of different things in here, prisoners, and then there would be lifts in here. There is a whole mechanical device under here that could make people pop out outside of from the floor, basically. And so, yeah, that would be the case. It would be, this is what this is, basically.